Fallout 4. You always see it in Bethesda's trailers, from the creators of Skyrim and Fallout 4, like it's some monumental achievement in gaming history, whereas if they wanted to be honest and flex their achievements, those trailers should look like this, from the creators of Oblivion/Skyrim and Fallout 3, and that may seem like a drastic statement. I mean, really? The bad one is Fallout 76, isn't it? Spoilers.
The game was rigged from the start.
Welcome to the channel where we are going to be taking a look at questions, no matter how ludicrous they may seem, and see if there's any legitimacy to them. And today, the question, was Fallout 4 actually good, or was it the biggest bamboozle in history? Now, Fallout is definitely a game franchise with a very divisive nature and tumultuous development and ownership history. I mean, this franchise literally has more development teams than you think, and more than there are missing nuclear warheads. Just a random fact I'll throw in, but clearly it's done something right to have a loyal fan base, but also clearly doing enough wrong to have an equal amount of pitchfork-wielding mobs. And if you're looking for a brief overview of its history, then this should take care of that for you. Firstly, we have Fallout 1 and 2, and we'll call this the Golden Era, certified great franchise winner here. Then came the spin-off era with Fallout Tactics, Brotherhood of Steel, and Fallout Brotherhood of Steel, and this era was definitely a step down, but along comes the hopeful era, and we are back to certified great franchise winner with Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, and the series is on a high note. But then we have the era of Todd. Now in this era we have Fallout 4 and Fallout 76, and the only things you hear about Fallout anymore are "Please let Obsidian make another Fallout game," and "76 is bad, lol." Those two statements really tell you all you need to know. Statement 1 is very factual and has been highly requested for many years, and Statement 2 is a very convenient scapegoat. Now before I deep dive into Fallout 4, I just want to point out that turning this actual Fallout 4 into this modded Fallout 4 is not the same game anymore. This is literally a community made and saved Fallout V2, not Bethesda. Okay, with that out the way, let's dive into the first part of that question. Was it ever good? Hitting the scene in 2015 to much hype and fanfare, we have Fallout 4, but contrary to popular belief and all of Bethesda's efforts, it did not get the universal acclaim that something like Fallout 3 did. While visually it was definitely an improvement, I mean, it was still a potato, but it was a better potato, the game itself was not what fans had hoped for. Now on the surface, it does seem to present the player with the right things. You're just a regular person who survives the apocalypse, appearing 200 years later thanks to cryo-freezing technology, being thrust into a world that you don't know or understand, with the motivation of searching for your missing baby. Although for our character and player, the timeline of freeze and unfreeze events is extremely poorly explained, but hey, you're defrosted now, that's a win. But soon after this, the story just kind of falls apart. There's no real mystery to things. Everywhere you go, you hear about the Institute and how people are constantly missing or being kidnapped and replaced by synths. Okay, yeah, clearly that's who took our baby. Fast forward, we eventually find said baby, who is no longer a baby, but a sick and dying old man. So much for their great technology, who is an absolute asshole about things. Either way, you can destroy the Institute or lead it with zero qualifications, because that makes sense. Regardless, your journey for finding your missing baby ends with the same results. Them not being a baby anymore and dying. You can't change that, your character doesn't feel like they've accomplished anything, there's no real satisfaction, on top of the fact that we as a player don't really feel anything towards Sean as a character, because we knew them for like 5 minutes, and now they're literally older than us. There's no connection, it's just a bad story. It's like a story that never really started and kinda got an ending, all with characters that don't matter to the reader at all. This is a better Sean scene than Fallout 4 could ever muster. Now usually in Fallout and Bethesda games, you can acquire quite the set of titles: Omnipotent Leader of the Sand Pirates, Honorary Member of the Preservation of Paper Rectangles, Prime Elder of Ironclad Fridges, and you can be all of them at once. Has it ever made sense? No, but it's the freedom of choice that players love to have in Fallout games, becoming anyone or everyone that they want to be. Fallout 4's factions, however, were more tied into the main storyline, which meant at a certain point you were locked in, and the rest were very displeased with you about it, thus allowing you only one said title. Not to mention the fact that the factions were also just a bit underdone, or completely off. The Minutemen are just awful, and their legacy is literally just a meme. Another settlement that's in danger, another settlement that needs help. Brotherhood of Steel felt more like a World War II regime, rather than "that's my electronic pew-pew, give it back." Institute don't really feel all that powerful when they can't even save their leader, but have the technology to grow a new one and a gorilla. Am I forgetting any? Oh yeah, the Railroad, the secret organization that literally paints a line straight to their secret organization. Come on. Now, the game world is always a very subjective place, so I won't really give too much emphasis on it here. You may love the Commonwealth area, or you may prefer the Mojave area of New Vegas or DC in Fallout 3. They generally do game worlds very well though, and Fallout 4 did have its usual interesting world to explore. To give credit where credit is due, Bethesda do environmental storytelling very, very well, and it's always what has made their games a joy to explore, because you never know what you're going to find. Some unmarked quest or intriguing side quest, they're oftentimes the best part about the Fallout games. However, this leads into the biggest issue that Fallout 4 had, which was then fixed in an extreme way in 76. With Fallout 4, for the first time, we got a fully voiced character, which was a step away from the usual system in Bethesda games. Now, love it or hate it, for most people looking for a role-played experience, especially where you're creating your own character, they prefer the silent option to immerse themselves in that role. The voiced characters work better for pre-designed characters that you just take the role of, like Geralt of Rivia or Adam Jensen as an example. But voice character aside, the dialogue system we got was a pure monstrosity. A wheel of choices, and once you have chosen an option, 90% of the time your character doesn't even say anything close to what that option was. And in an RPG where NPCs and dialogue is at the top of the list of important aspects, this ruins it completely. Apart from being completely different to what you chose, they also didn't really matter that much. A particular mission would for the most part play out the same until its end, regardless of what options you went with. For a game series that has always had a play it your way approach and really awesome storytelling in a rich world filled with characters that you want to meet, this system just made you want to avoid everyone and push the game into a more shooter-focused path, which is exactly the path that they chose for it, which was the wrong decision. So what do all of these separate issues culminate into? Well, Fallout 4 clearly took a page out of the Big MT's book and lobotomized its RPG elements, the very things that make a Fallout game Fallout, the very things that have made it a beloved franchise. Because it went from its roots of play it how you want to play it, the special storytelling nuances, no clear answers to whether or not you're making the right or wrong choice, the consequences of that choice and how it will affect the world, because you may have good intentions, but terrible things may happen because of them. The worlds built within the bigger world, stumbling upon characters and stories from decades or centuries ago, and Fallout 4 just slammed all of that into the little corners of the game and focused on a cool voice character idea and improved shooting mechanics with crafting and a terrible settlement system, all the while putting you through the paces of a way more linear experience that you as a character can't really change up much, even if you side with a different faction. The missions are basically the same, you're just wearing a different faction's flag. And you can even see what the community wanted from the start just by looking at the most endorsed and rated mods of all time for the game. Besides the usual patch and bug fix mods, you have stuff like the full dialogue interface rework and multiple other dialogue mods, environmental mods for weather and the wasteland itself, complete settlement overhauls because it was so terribly designed. Cool idea, but it needed the community to fix it and make it feel like it fit within the world and wasn't just some random NPC asking for green paint. And the fans of the game turned it into quite an awesome experience if you take the time to mod it to hell and back to get it into a stable enough state to play, but that isn't really Bethesda's doing, is it? But this all leads into the main question that we had at the beginning: was it actually good or the biggest bamboozle ever? Because all of these points are very valid, and yet people don't often remember them now or bring up Fallout 4 a lot. And I think it's quite valid to say that if this was Bethesda's first Fallout title instead of Fallout 3, this franchise would have been dead or nowhere near the level that it got to, because it's not that Fallout 4 is a bad game, it's just that it's a very weak Fallout game. So technically that answers the first part of the question, but what about the bamboozle part? Well, that's where 76 comes into the picture. Now, one thing to understand about 76 is it is literally Fallout 4 multiplayer or Fallout 4 Enhanced Edition. Besides all the controversies at launch with the physical side of products, the bag fiasco, the rum fiasco, etc., we all know that at this point, a lot of the problems present at the launch of 76 were literally problems in Fallout 4. Why? Because besides the slightly improved engine, it was the same source code and assets copied over into a new world. So of course the bugs are going to go over into 76 from 4, as well as slapping on top of a terrible game engine known for its bugginess and issues, the fact that you're now incorporating multiplayer and servers into the mix. Yeah, Fallout took the hit when it came to Bethesda's attempts at a modern day online game. But you can also see other decisions at play, higher ups at Bethesda rushing development to jump on the online trend to make those big bucks, the awful dialogue system in Fallout 4 being completely scrapped in 76, so it went from terrible to non-existent. 76 launch just had the robots and holotapes. Wonder why they got rid of the Fallout 4 system, huh? Creation Club, paid mods that easily morphed into Atomic Shop, legendary weapon system in Fallout 4 expanded in 76, explosive bullets aka the legacy problem in 76, yeah, it's still present in Fallout 4, go get an energy or even a ballistic weapon with explosive bullets in Fallout 4, and it completely nukes anything alive. They never fixed it in 76, they still don't know how, they just removed it. The more you look at, the more you see how close things really are. Whereas modders were there to save the day for Fallout 4 for the most part, fixing up systems, add in missing features and quality of life updates. 76 is a live service game, so mods aren't present, so it never had modders to fix it. But this is where it gets really interesting and why I call 76 Fallout 4 Enhanced Edition, because it actually is better over the years. Of course, 76 has gotten more development, they even have other studios working on it now, and honestly, some of the quality of life updates are really awesome. The community is the best online community I've ever experienced in a game, and a lot of the systems from Fallout 4 they improved upon. The legendary system, the settlement system, NPCs are back with the old school dialogue system, not the terrible Fallout 4 one. It's honestly how Fallout 4 should have been, and can you really blame them for going the multiplayer route when even today people are still screaming for multiplayer and stuff like Skyrim? Yeah, come on, they were gonna do it. But the bamboozle comes into play where 76 is the scapegoat because all the focus is on it, how bad the launcher was, the mob mentality of people just saying it's terrible without even playing it, and just seeing the copious amounts of YouTube videos slamming it and going over the same 3 points again and again. And that keeps the focus off of Fallout 4 and all the problems it had, which Bethesda is fine with because that's why they get to include it in their little trailer ads, bamboozling everyone who hasn't looked deeper. But in all seriousness, I love the Fallout franchise. Each one has something to offer, and it creates some of the biggest discussions out there to which is better and why. It doesn't matter, enjoy what you enjoy. Hopefully you got something out of this video though. If you enjoyed, then hey, do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, stick around for more Fallout content, and I'll see you in the next one.